SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Chiaramonte. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
And we are live. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast, episode number 51. It is going to be the review, the 50 show and first year review. My name is Neil with...
Stop. You're just going to stop?
I'm just going to stop.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Mad Scientist Scott Brown.
If you're unaware, folks, every podcast, I like to make
day.
sure. Every day, I like to make sure that Scott is on his toes.
Yeah.
You've just never met anybody like Scott. I can just darn near guarantee that. And the Mad Scientist is such a unique.
I'm on adrenaline right now.
On what? Magellan? And adrenaline?
Yeah.
This is your adrenaline rush?
I totally thought he was talking about gelling with Magellan.
He was gelling. Folks, if you're not aware, I like to mess with Scott as far as when we get rocking and rolling. Some days he brings some funny-ish to the table, janitorial. Oh boy.
Wow.
Chuck.
Meth head, obviously. What? Ouch. I'm sorry.
Sometimes Scott brings some funny stuff to the table, his janitorial services, his metal fabricating. He is the Mad Scientist, right?
Today I tried to make a heater work, but I was unsuccessful, but Jeff had it.
Jeff had it.
I had that one.
That's right. Where one is weak, another will rise to the occasion at
Can't
SFJ.
smack that hard like you can.
Folks, this is the I Speak Jeep podcast presented by SFJ4x4.com, and we have got a doozy. We're going to be reviewing our year ourselves. So you're going to want to be here for that. We're also going to revisit some past product spotlights from the hashtag not sponsored section. We're going to talk about ones that we like, maybe ones that we didn't like.
Have they changed?
Have they changed? Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll be doing that. We have only 4 podcast episodes left. Is that right, Jeffrey?
Yeah, for the year.
For the year.
Don't
panic,
the year.
people. Then we're going to start next season.
So we're going to lay this out for you just ever so briefly. By next week, we're going to be bringing on Daddy Jeep from DaddyJeep Garage on his YouTube channel. So he'll be joining us as our special guest. You won't want to miss that one. You shouldn't miss any, honestly, whether you're listening to us, in your ear holes, or whether you're joining us live or on YouTube. You're definitely going to want to be, present for that. And we're going to be welcoming him, talking about the YouTube life and all of his philanthropic pursuits. What are you doing? There's like female hair in my headphones.
It's probably from your wig from Halloween.
Oh, it's totally from my wig from Halloween.
This guy.
If you're listening, I'm all tangled up like a net, a spider web over here, and it's because I'm in my wig.
Why you go
hair.
with the dinosaur costume?
Yeah, that was on point. So then, November 28th, we'll be doing. We'll be getting ready for our Christmas parade. So a nice, family-friendly activity. Actually, I believe it will have passed. We'll be talking about it.
Yep.
And then
Christmas
we'll be doing
parade passed.
Yes. And then we'll be doing 2 more episodes the first 2 weeks of December. December 5th, your best gifts for Christmas. So what to buy your favorite Jeeper. And then we'll do our
SFJ gift card.
SFJ gift card, man. And we don't, what's great about the SFJ gift cards? You don't actually ever have to step foot here. You can do it all electronically.
But we're not scary. You can come in and get one too.
We would love if you came in and got one, because then you could get a cool shirt and some mugs and some coffee and
Get
some
the
other
get the grand tour.
Get the tour. So you'll be able to do that. And obviously, if you don't, or you're listening from very far away and you want to support somebody online, you can do all of our e-gift card giving. You can shoot it right over to their email, and they can feel all warm and fuzzy when they open an email. And then December 12th will be our final season episode for this specific fall and series of podcasts. And then we'll have some special content going up for those of you who are joining us on your favorite streaming platform. So we'll have some special content over basically a 2.5 week period where we take a break, focus on regrouping as a business, and coming back in 2023 new and improved.
And for those that are going to be listening for those last few episodes, there is a 12 Days of Jeepmas coming back.
Boom.
Revised and edited for the new one.
I can't wait. That's always a fun time, to say the least. I think Scott needs to absolutely have some shared parts in singing this year.
I don't know. I kind of like him holding up the flashcards and trying to keep up with you.
That's what I do.
That was entertaining.
Yes.
That's what I do, he says.
That's what I bring to the table.
Excellent. As usual, we oh gosh, if you're jumping in right now, and maybe you're not exactly familiar with Scott or I, right? And
Dave saying, hey.
Hey, Dave, man, you know what? I was missing you, Dave, and your office, right? I was worried that we had lost you in some capacity, so I am glad that you and the office space are back in viewership, listenership with us.
And then DaddyJeep saying another 12 Days of Jeepmas. Can't wait.
Hey, brother, we're bringing the heat. Actually, I'm not doing anything. I'm just showing up and being me. Jeffrey, the Italian Stallion, is bringing the heat. He's doing
probably already planning the intro.
The
lyrics. You know he loves that stuff.
The lyrics are already done.
He loves that
just
stuff.
saying.
He salivates when he thinks about
Halloween was done. He's like, okay, game on.
Production value added stuff. Jeffrey is just the Italian Stallion is here for it.
Yeah.
If you're unfamiliar with Scott or I, right? Maybe you're joining us. You're getting into, you just found this podcast and you need to know more. We've done some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
We've built some Jeeps. We're 20, 30 year veterans of the automotive industry. And when most JK JL owners were still JL owners were running around in their Fast and Furious cars.
Yes.
You and I,
or
their
their minivans,
minivans. You and I were in obnoxiously built vehicles as teenagers and whatnot,
and then the Willie's years.
And then obviously the vintage stuff and wheeling through, cornfields and off-site properties. I have wheeled, we've both wheeled properties that many people will never have the opportunity to wheel because those parks have come and gone.
Yep.
We've been in the industry for a long time. At this point in our lives, we really just like the challenge of building other abstract things.
Yes.
And so we try to take a couple minutes and just kind of share with you our own interests and pursuits. Because ultimately, the I Speak Jeep podcast, the Jeep lifestyle is about the DIYer.
Yep.
Right? This rugged individualism that the vehicle itself gives us. And so, Scott has found himself, you've tried building a couple cool cars, and you have built a couple cool cars. You have obviously an extensive collection. I've got some gnarly Jeeps and trucks and stuff like that. But both of us are pursuing different things in life at this moment. So, we still have our Jeeps, and we have too many Jeeps.
That's
the answer.
Yeah.
But you're doing the classic, the traditional hot rod build. If you're not familiar, we'll talk a little bit about that because I know you have some updates.
Yep.
And my wife and I have decided to thumb our nose at traditional mantras of society, and we're building a quote unquote tiny house.
It was a tiny house, but Neil can't do anything small.
I have
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home, man. And
If
I don't go. And I don't go home.
If he could put 54s on the house, he would.
I was at SEMA, and right now I got to tell you, I would be lying to you if they released the Mickey Thompson Baja Boss MT, right, which is this fantastic tire right now. I'm real smitten with, and they released it in a 44. And I got to tell you, I'm
When's
here
that
for
going
it.
on, Chuck?
I'm here for it. I am here for it. So, of course, what did I do? I went to all of our distributors and saw who had availability.
So those ones measure 40 tall?
No. And Mickey Thompson is bringing a fairly accurate.
They're bringing the heat.
They're bringing the heat. And if you're not aware, the Mickey Thompson Baja Boss
Chuck
MT,
is eyeing that up.
right? I know, Chuck. I'm here for it. Right? You should be too.
Just needs 2 big crates, and then we'll get it done.
Chuck needs 2 big crates and long arms in the rear. But as far as that 44 is concerned, none of our distributors have it. The Mickey Thompson reinvented the carcass that actually makes up that particular tire. And so
I
it's,
remember you going on about this now.
yeah, it's one of my, right now, it just rides well. Now, with that said, I did manage to get in last week and rebalance my wife's Cooper STT Pros. And I'm very happy now that I've rebalanced them after them being on the ground for a year. But the MTs, the Mickey Thompson MTs, just seem to be, kind of better out of the box in our current situation. No 44s on the market yet, though.
Nah.
Just released at SEMA, not on the market yet.
Yep.
But anyway, so so we'd like to tell you a little bit about that, because that's really about the Jeep lifestyle, and so ultimately you might be off-roading and overlanding and camping, and if you're overlanding, that's just expensive camping, and that's part of the Jeep lifestyle, and so ultimately kind of doing some of these other cool, unique things that we're
It's
exposed
about
to.
the people, not necessarily about the vehicle. The vehicle is what brings you together. But
It's the vessel.
It's the people that you meet in
It's
the process.
the people, the process. It's the things that we're exposed to. So, with that said, how goes the 36? Well, first of all, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Of course. Yesterday was the
Officially
big day.
I caught up to Neil now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So happy birthday to you and that. You want me to sing to you?
No.
Happy birthday.
See, he does this stuff. Anyway,
Mad scientist.
so I've been working on my car, and it
Happy
has a floor
birthday
now.
to
So
you.
Get going now.
Go ahead. No.
I'm here for the floor. Let's hear about this
I wanna
floor.
hear about
I
the
don't know
floor.
what Neil's talking about.
So I've been working at this floor. It feels like 80.
Happy birthday.
Oh God.
Oh, and apparently Rob shares a birthday with you, Scott.
There's so many people having my birthday. It's crazy.
What was happening 9 months ago? What was
Valentine's Day.
Oh.
There was a post on Facebook. I was like, I don't need to know that. I'm good.
Joe Barilla is pondering 44s on the 4xe.
I got
You
tagged
also
into.
need 2 crates.
They need 2 crates.
Yeah.
And actually, Linda tagged me into something on the 4xe, one of the prolific 4xe social groups, and we have some acquaintances over the pond, and they have broken the code. So if you don't know, the re-gearing a
alarms
4xe.
are going off at Jeep right now.
Yes.
They're running in the hallways. Papers are flying. Things are on fire. We got to rewrite the code.
Somebody has broken the code over the pond and are able to tell the computer of the 4xe that the gears have changed. It has everything to do, if you've watched, and as you watch some of the SEMA rollout, you'll see where I get really excited over electric, assist vehicles. And you'll see it's all about that throttle proportioning, right? There is an extra level of algorithms and computer control that goes with the electric torque management. And that system needs to integrate with our Jeeps. Our Jeeps are already smart enough in the transmission shift points to know when or what gear ratio, when we re-geared and how to use it. Now we have to add electric torque management to the process. Right. And we hadn't actually had that technology available to the end user just yet. So you did floors in your car. Speaking of the opposite of technologically advanced.
Yes. Yeah. Very
flathead V8.
Very archaic. But anyway, I've got floor pans way back before I owned sheet metal tools, and I bought rocker panels, and I spent feels like the last 80 days and nights fitting those and making them bend to my will, and did get everything fit. And at some point, I just picked up the MIG torch and started welding. So now I actually physically have permanent floor on the driver's side, which I'm happy about.
It looks amazing.
And I had to make some pieces about 6 to 10 inches long on either end of the rocker to join that to the rest of the car.
Okay.
And,
I saw that. I wasn't exactly sure what that was. It was like a jam piece, right?
Yeah. It's called I can't.
You're
think of the
making
name.
something up now.
Anyway.
Okay.
I had to make that, and it had this really weird compound curve and then 2 bends not too far from it. And I was like, how in the world am I going to do this? So I had lots of banging in the vise, and early Fords, because they have a torque tube, they have these rods that connect the transmission to the frame.
Okay.
So when you push in the clutch and stuff, that the motor doesn't try to push out of the front of the car.
It's important. Take 2 seconds. 2 seconds, because of course we're a lot of our customers, our listeners, are Jeep customers, right, or Jeep enthusiasts. But we have a lot of people who are just reaching out to us. They're just auto enthusiasts. Torque tube. Tell what's a torque tube?
So a torque tube is what we had before drive shafts, and it's sort of a drive shaft, but there's a tube on the outside that connects the rear axle to the transmission, and if you look underneath the vehicle, it just looks like a tube, and it does not move other than up and down for suspension. And there's this big ball at the back of the transmission that is where that pivots, and there is one singular U-joint inside, buried in there. When on the Ford, you pack it with grease. On the Jeep, on the early years, they kind of had this design on the front axle, and those were bathed in oil. And obviously, when you do that, the U-joints last forever.
Right.
Like mine's 85 years old, and it's still good, so it's back in the car.
Yep. Not exposed to the elements.
That U-joint attached is to a little bitty drive shaft, and Ford did a couple different designs, and that rides inside of that tube that you see on the outside. And there is a bearing on my car in the middle that nobody makes a replacement for because they hardly ever fail.
Oh, okay. Well, that was good.
Yep. And most of the time, if you build like a 32 Ford or a Model A and you have to shorten that up, you actually cut the bearing out of it. And it literally has a coupler on the back on the pinion, and it just goes in with a pin straight on, and that's it. And you want to have the biggest important thing with hot rods like mine is you have to have enough angle of the drive shaft so that the gear oil runs back to the rear axle. Other than that, you're pretty good. So that's
a torque tube.
That's a torque tube. And I own the both ends of the torque tube. My Rambler is the last American car that had a torque tube, 1966, and obviously Ford is one of the guys that started it. So it's kind of neat to see the difference.
And I'm glad that Scott actually got to talk about his metal work today, because his body work, number one is, well, you interrupted him last week. But that's
I have
besides
no
the
idea
point.
what you're saying.
But anyways.
No.
Anyways.
No, we had SEMA to talk about last week.
I'm excited to hear him talk about it, because he's the guy that would actually work with the metal and take the time to do that. On Saturday, I found a vehicle locally that I had to take a picture of for you guys because it took after my own heart.
Oh,
and this is what I would do for body work. And probably better even, because this was awesome. Here's a picture for you. Go ahead and describe that for us, Neil.
Oh, wow. So Jeffrey is put up on the screen.
Got to focus in, Neil. There's some good points in there.
This is...
Here, I'll make it a little bigger.
This
there you go. Now you can see the quality.
Wow, this is a wood bedside.
Both sides.
No.
Both sides.
So, wow. So this individual, I mean, we've got a early 2000s Chevrolet, or GM product, I should say. And
it's like an 03, because I can tell by the taillight.
Correct. Somehow the beds, well, not somehow, we know that the bedsides just absolutely rot away on those.
Yeah.
And this individual has completely replaced their bedside with wood.
And it's curved.
And
it's curved to match the bed.
They actually tried their best to create a real and true bedside out of it, and they even made sure there was a cutout, but not like a round cutout for the gas. For the gas
Spirit moved them on the cutout for the wheel.
Well, the wheel itself,
the wheel, and for the gas tank.
The gas.
My favorite feature is he put hooks on it.
He
mounted
did.
hooks.
Well, he needs that to keep the bedside on. That's what the ratchet strap's for.
No, the ratchet strap is literally there as a tie down. I inspected this truck for a minute.
I
my wife was like,
this
"You
truck.
can't be doing this." So what if that guy walks out? I said, "I don't care. This
Then
is
you
awesome."
talk to him.
Yeah.
What do you mean if he
When
walks
you
out?
do that
I
to
was
the
Then
excited.
we talk to him.
I wanted to. He never came out while I was checking
This
it
is the
out.
kind of stuff that I love, right? The human ingenuity that says, you know what, I don't exactly possess the ability to do this right here and now, but I'm going to bring my best to the table.
Yeah. And honestly, it's something I've had to wrestle with myself. We likewise.
I'm not done looking at that. Just,
Well, I can put it back up.
no, you don't need to put it back
but-
up. I just think I'm going to, at lunchtime, I'm going to spend some time just
Oh, yeah.
staring.
Well, so Chuck says it's the pallet side bed, and Joe says, "Well, it won't rust."
that's
What's under it will though.
no.
I don't know that there's anything
I don't
left
think there's
under it at
anything
that
under
point.
it.
something.
And
screwed to
Harbor
something.
Freight sells routers is from Chuck.
Oh.
This was at Lowe's, Chuck. He could have went in and bought a router from
Hey,
there.
he probably. Yeah, you know what? What does that say about the folks at Lowe's, right? I mean, just you and the wood bedside guy.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I'm at Lowe's every time I have a day off. So.
Yeah,
that's true.
That is true. You know, we could probably make a really wicked bedside out of like some Ultimate Axles, pallets,
Out of the crates.
Yeah.
That's
Especially
we should
if we
do
get
that.
2 customers buying.
Ooh, what if we make our Barbie Jeep out of that?
460s.
Our Barbie Jeep. Davey's running downhill at Bantam in
And a crate axle.
crate axle inspired Barbie Jeep.
I'm here for it.
Oh my gosh!
Got to
wow.
sign a waiver for the splinters though.
Wow, that would
That's
be
what Sanders
something.
are for.
Yep.
So I guess I should finish explaining why I was talking about an anti-chatter rod. That's a bar I was talking about. As I
Okay.
literally bent the sheet metal around that because I don't have the right dies for my bead roller.
Oh,
So lots of hammering, and it happened to be the right diameter.
nice.
So that all
do you
welded in,
do you
that's
do the
good.
old beanbag style?
So my wife got me a bean bag or sandbag and
Yeah.
the plastic hammer. I can't remember what holiday or birthday or anniversary it was for, but she got me that. I think it was last Christmas. And this birthday, I got a planishing hammer. So you make big dents with the hammer on the sandbag, and then you planish them out. And I'm really excited about that. So
Outstanding.
got to make a stand for it. And I'm going to move some stuff around my garage. And long term, I want to actually plumb air to my garage. Novel idea instead of hoses running over everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And get working closer to being a full metal shop, I guess.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So
That's fantastic. How cool is that?
so when I go to do the passenger side, it's going to be so much easier.
Well, yeah. I mean, you learned a lot of stuff, and then you'll be doing the passenger side, and then you'll be like, oh man, I wish I would have known this, or I had this.
Totally.
Or
That's already happened.
we always do that though.
And Ken Kushner's chiming in. Happy belated birthday, Scott.
Thank you, Ken.
Absolutely. You know, and just on a side note, I see Ken actually has got some cool stuff that he actually has coming down the pipe. He's actually going to be building a KL. So he has a trail hockey. He's building a KL in the future some point in time. So I saw Ken was advertising some of his lift components came in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool stuff happening in the world. So Jeffrey, what are we talking about over the 50? I mean, this is a pretty big deal.
I think the first thing we
you
ask
got-
is there a specific episode that stands out in your mind as memorable? Whether it was just extra fun, just stupid, just whatever.
I
Was there
think
one
all
that stands
the
out?
times
Well,
he had to sing 12 Days of
I
Jeepmas.
think what so first of all, what stands out in my mind, but B, also probably one of the ones that when I'm out and about and people kind of want to bring up the podcast or the social media content, and it varies, but one of the ones that jumps out to me is when Jeffrey lied to the general audience and human beings during the Jeopardy.
That was a
and
fact. that I was able to
tried
back up.
claiming that Jeep wasn't, was like 43 or something like that.
He obviously hasn't let that go, Jeff.
The
and-
official date on the legal documents
Oh.
were 1943.
I hear that bus revving up.
Juggle. He juggles things, and right now, if you're listening, you're like, that's not true. If you juggle
We
it right
don't.
now,
We don't.
We agree with you. There's
Yes.
something cattywampus.
We don't care what Google says.
Yeah, we don't care.
We feel it in our right here in,
That's
in
right.
our hearts.
That's right.
We
And
know when it
people
started.
come up and be like, that Jeffrey, I think that was a trick.
Yep.
Well, it was a trick, and he's also wrong. So he and Google are wrong.
Side note, Joe's chiming in. Linda is a metalsmith. She likes banging on metal, which explains the dent in our diff cover.
Yep.
We just those who are enjoying listening and want to know a little more about this. So Joe and Linda are a husband and wife driver team. Linda the driver, Joe the photographer and spotter, and
they use their Jeeps.
And just a quick throwback on that. 2015, they buy a Jeep reasonably sight unseen from a mutual acquaintance and friend of ours out in Colorado. It's a Rubicon. They fly to Colorado, jump in this Rubicon from the dealership, drive it on to the Southwest, and wheel some type of Jeep Jamboree USA, Arch Canyon, Moab, Rubicon, I don't know, and have never looked back since.
Yes.
We have been had the pleasure of servicing their Jeep for 8 years almost at this point. They, along with about 3 or 4 other of our close listeners and customers, go to a jamboree here in Ohio called Killbuck, and everybody broke everything. I don't understand what that Killbuck jamboree was doing.
Ohio trails bring the heat.
Oh my gosh, right? I feel like if we had to West Coast, East Coast wheeling, I'm here to tell you that right now Ohio trails.
So you pivoted around a tree.
I think Chuck and Joe just became friends.
I actually saw a video.
There's eye blinking
of Joe and Linda turtled on a boulder, right? Glacial sediment boulder in Ohio backwoods.
Yep.
And they've got 3 guys while she wheels, and they kind of pivot her around.
That's because you weren't there. The surf on the bumper.
Well, I said I started this episode saying we've done some things.
We've been there,
right?
We've done that,
and the diversity of the things that we've wheeled, from vintage garbage to
2-wheel drive pickup trucks
to unibody vehicles to full frame Wranglers.
Yeah.
We've done some stuff.
It's always fun when you go to the trailhead and you're getting ready to go, and everybody's like, "Well, aren't you going to do this?" And I'm like, "No." Nope, Jeep's ready. I drove it here. I'll get in it and I'll wheel it and I'm going to drive it home.
That's you and Aaron now.
Yeah,
but
but
agree to disagree on that one.
Our last trip out, we got you to try something that everybody else got stuck on too. So
yeah, that's true.
At least you tried something new.
Yeah.
So circle back a year in review. Jeopardy was fantastic. I also think it was highly entertaining and popular. People enjoyed that. People are following along.
We may have to do another series of Jeopardy.
But
maybe in the new year.
Yeah.
Maybe in the new
like
year.
the
In the new
host,
year.
Jeff.
I maybe.
Trebek. Like the SNL.
Yes.
I will totally act out the
Totally.
Oh, this will be great.
Chiaramonte. Your mom, Chiaramonte.
Oh, gee.
Oh, those SNL skits were great.
They were
They're awesome,
hilarious.
right? All right, so Jeopardy was up there. Obviously, the launch prior to Christmas and the Jeepmas songs and general fun was fantastic. Adding guests to our as we've continued to grow and expand upon.
You can't forget Tow Truck Jesus.
Tow Truck Jesus, Greg the insurance agent,
Yep.
Alice in Parliament, and the official ducking. It was a ducking good time.
Yes.
Yes.
So we've obviously had these fantastic guests, and we're going to continue to add them as we bring on Rob Morgan, DaddyJeep Garage. We got a couple other special guests, maybe some local club presidents, and bring them on and have conversations about their missions and expectations as part of the Jeep community. I don't know, Scott, is there something that's jumped out to you as far as
it's hard to just pick one, in my opinion. We genuinely enjoy doing this for you guys, so I think that shows. I hope it shows. So when you're that's part of the entertainment value. So I think all of them are just kind of good. I guess that's kind of a cop out.
It is a cop out.
that is definitely a cop out.
That is a middle school
Wow.
cop out when the teacher calls on an individual and they give the most generalized response possible.
When you gotta BS it, you BS it.
I mean, we've talked about the origin of SFJ. We've talked about recovery. I think honestly our recovery episode was one of my favorites.
Okay.
Especially where we got
recovered.
You really like recovery too.
I do, but also because we also had our listeners send in stories, and some of them were just downright entertaining.
They were,
especially
That's
when
true.
you got to pull this blue gladiator through the trail.
Listen.
Anyways,
listen. He's
you know, we had the top 5 first mods that you should get. I mean, I think that's an episode people should go back and listen to if they haven't.
That's right. I mean, that's and we'll probably touch on a little bit of that as we get closer to the Christmas, suggestions for Christmas purchases and
37s.
That's true. We're wheeling and dealing on discounts prior to Thanksgiving here, so people are booking those jobs. You might be getting $750 off 37s.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hear that, Jeffrey?
We know what we did. The whole obviously one that I got pretty geeked up about was the kind of the recap of where we did the 3-part light bars and lockers.
4-part.
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 It was
because you
supposed
just
to be
couldn't stop
3-part
talking about it.
because
you were so hyped up about it.
Yeah,
We had to run a whole extra episode
That's
on it.
right.
True. He does get excited.
I'm passionate, right? I'm passionate about this.
There's lots of passion.
Lots of, that's true. That's true.
Chuck's chiming in. Viewer perspective. The videos and podcasts get better every week. Well done to the entire crew. So thank you for that, Chuck.
Oh, thank you, Chuck.
Absolutely.
We try.
Let's see. We did the Trail Fest, Southington stuff. Obviously tow truck. Oh, CB and GMRS, which is great tech know-how.
That was our first time we were corrected by a listener too,
And I was
very
gonna say,
appreciative of that.
That's exactly where I was going with.
You
Was
can't be an expert on every single
on
detail.
every little piece of a minute detail.
There's only so many facts I can pack into this head.
But ultimately, from an ownership perspective, I've always kind of said, obviously, I can personally do some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's the people that create the lifeblood of the business, the approach. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff, and it extends to our listener and viewer base.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we had an individual, reach out appropriately and be
Yes.
like, hey, I'm listening to this. I really enjoy your guys' podcast, but you said one thing, and it really
it's
should be something
I'm passionate
else.
about, and I really know this subject, and here's the I'm here
the-
for it.
I'll own our indiscretion every day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's how we grow and how we go, hey, I appreciate that. That viewer listener becomes an extension of the business who then brings factual information out into the community.
Yep.
We can't ask for more in that regard.
Speaking of, I think one of the things I've enjoyed is all the bloopers. The times words were said
What
wrong.
are you talking about?
Things were said inappropriately.
Oh,
Things were typed wrong. Like our list right here. I'll just let you look at that because that's hilarious to me.
So
See anything wrong there.
Jeffrey's list is TOE, tow truck Jesus.
I'm not sure who typed that in, but that is hilarious.
It's perfectly fine.
Is that the Savage? I think that's the Savage. So Savage does a nice job keeping a library.
It's his dry humor.
Of
He probably did that on purpose.
I 100%.
but okay, I'm gonna take a sidebar and talk about. For me, I use Swipe a lot because I communicate with arguably hundreds of people a day, and it's amazing how oftentimes my Swipe changes tires to toes and TOES, and I
so maybe Neil typed this list.
I
think that's what happened.
struggle because I can legitimately say, knock on wood, I have only sent one semi inappropriate, like accidental text message in my whole entire life. Went to an employee probably 12, 14 years ago, and
Are we
it should
admitting
have
to lawsuit stuff right
should
now?
have gone to my wife, right?
Oh.
100%. And
We'd like to protect Neil against this litigation that has come to light. Let
So-
us know.
so, and it was not like it was not. It was not like it was. Don't let your imagination go wild right now, folks. Right? It was just like
I'm just trying to understand, was Scott trying to advertise legal services or was he requesting? Because it sounded like he was advertising it for a minute there.
I think he needs them.
Listen. So it was a reasonably innocent message, but it was intended for my wife, and it went to an employee of mine. It was completely remediated very quickly.
What's it mean?
But I was totally embarrassed in the process because it was like that was totally like a spousal text message. And it was not that graphic.
Why am I getting
It's
eggs?
not that exciting, not that exciting, but it was, it was just not meant for that person. But I am terrified.
So
terrified.
Real quick, Amy chimed in, said, "Good morning, guys," and then Chuck says, "I wish my boss would tell me he loves me."
And it was something along that.
You're a hell of a guy, Neil.
No problem. Chuck. I love you too, Chuck. You looked wonderful last night.
Oh yeah.
So here's the thing. On my text message,
Hi, honey.
I constantly am like, "Oh, hey, here's a picture of your toes," but it's supposed to be like tires.
If it's ever happened to you, chime in.
No, it hasn't happened to anybody. I'd like to think I'm more thorough than that at this point. But
Joe's
there's our
telling
tow
you
truck
guys
Jesus.
to get a room. Just to clarify. Don't worry, Joe. That's going to be you soon. You and
Yeah.
Chuck. You guys are going to be real good friends.
Just got to get crate axles
Wheeling
together, and then
crate
you'll be
axles together. So yeah, and when we had insurance, we had trips. Oh, the ridiculous trip to Charleston, the banger that I did over the weekend. Obviously, we did a Bantam, a couple. We did a lead up to Bantam, and then a follow up from Bantam. I think what's interesting when we look back our year, and I, as an industry professional, I've been consuming industry content for
Chuck's
decades.
bringing up his trailer, saying that's cozy.
Trailer is cozy, bro.
way better than the trailer in the early
I don't.
days.
I don't know that Neil could get in that trailer though. It's a
That's
little
true.
claustrophobic.
Would
for him.
hyperventilate in there.
Yes.
And
Has
we
to know
have
where
we
the
have
exit is.
and if you're listening in, we have kind of talked about kind of these adventure trailers, camping, and Chuck has this really cool Expedition 2.0.
That's why his tiny house got large.
It is, right? That was
Needs
nice in
space.
theory, bad in practice. What I think is neat as a person who's been consuming industry content for decades, I think what's cool is we look back over our content, and ours is typically community or culturally relevant, right? So we're oftentimes talking about present day stuff and then slipping in continued tech or slipping in kind of the fun feel good stories.
Just had a light bulb. It kind of reminds me of a certain Jeep magazine we used to all read and love.
Oh my goodness. Isn't that the truth? I mean,
Right?
ultimately, that is, it would be going without saying that as an individual who grew up reading, basically the Peterson family of four-wheel drive automotive content.
Yep.
It would be a hope that our customer base, our family of viewers and listeners, would be able to come to our social media and get a little bit of feel good, get a little bit of tech, get
Yep.
a little bit of community events,
Yep. Little history.
and that it could just be kind of a wide swath of entertaining content that speaks to a Jeeper where they're at, right?
Yes.
Not above their head. It's not a factory service manual where it's just all dry, wry, technical information the full time.
Meh.
I know. You as a child were like, blah, 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 blah. You got it. You read that.
Yeah.
My dad and I used to look at like these magazines and we're like, well, we're looking at them for the pictures.
Yeah. So what's he talking about again?
I didn't know what a Dana axle was, 30 years ago. Obviously, or what vehicles came with, AMC 20s and which ones came with Dana 300s. And,
Yep.
the average person sometimes doesn't care,
Not Scott.
No, but that's what we bring to the table is we have this diversity and then this very cool cast of
Like
characters.
7 years in the garage, 30 years ago.
What's that?
That's almost 7 years in the garage 30 years ago.
You did, right? You did. And I had 30 years ago, I had 7-8 years in a field or in a backyard,
Yes.
toiling in the dirt, digging up parts, trying to make rotors fit S10 Blazers and K5 Blazers and old Jeeps and
Yep.
absolutely
Showing your age here, guys.
Meh.
with all this talk of all the past episodes, if anyone listening has any particular episode that you really enjoyed and want to hear more about or have us go more in depth on, feel free to send us a message, let us know. Or if you have any new content for 2023 that you'd like us to explore, we're starting to plan for 23 right now, so now's the time.
We absolutely are, and obviously we've got events that we're going to be attending. Some that you may have heard of, some that you may not have heard of. We obviously are always we're very blessed in what we do and how we do it, and so we're still at this kind of continued ability to expand. The way that our market share has happened and the way that people are supporting us, we are continually expanding. So we're going to be bringing some of those plans to the table and sharing those things with you in the next 50 episodes. Kind of the forward progress of SFJ and the media and the social media content. Obviously, if we're in your ear holes right now and you're commuting from one place to the other somewhere in the world, we greatly appreciate your participation. But I strongly encourage you to head over to SFJ 4x4 TV and check out our vlogs, our updates. I mean, that channel is exploding, and people are here to, to follow along and see some of these adventures we're going on. And be really part of that experience.
It's really fun when somebody comes into the shop and has watched those. We just had one this weekend. They wanted to see #NotRestoration because they've been watching the videos on YouTube and just wanted to see the Jeep. I was really surprised of the progress we have made with it. So that was also really cool.
Totally. Yeah, and it's interesting. So I mean, we're trying to hit multiple mediums, and obviously you should be liked and subscribed and following along on the I Speak Jeep podcast YouTube channel as well, so you can get some of this content and be part of it, or reference something that we've said either intelligently or like boneheads.
Yeah, call us out. That's fun.
That's okay. That's okay. We make mistakes as well. So we're planning the next, 50 episodes, and that's why, obviously, we're going to be taking some time off right over the holidays to regroup. Maybe change a few basic things up here in our podcast space to obviously continue to be relevant, appropriate, and to be engaging, right? So people can ultimately look around in the studio space and see some of this old quirky stuff that we have,
yep.
Which obviously we're both purveyors of and interested in.
Yep.
Some of those toys, we'll be talking about what we actually did or didn't get for Christmas and what our expectations were there. And just in general, trying to bring that continued cultured or curated content to people. And obviously, if there's technical know-how that you would like us to pontificate upon, totally do that.
Yeah, we're here for that.
Totally do that. So, Jeffrey, I think in the hashtag not sponsored, so unless we really have something else to review as far as our favorites, one way or the other.
No, I think we go to that.
I think we go to our favorite and not so favorite products of 2022.
And now it's time for our product spotlight.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Spotlight.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Or products this time.
My favorite product of 2022 was this goofy sticker right here.
Yep.
The I Speak Jeep podcast sticker.
No, yes, that is probably one of our favorites, but I know that that's not your favorite. Your favorite is the all-new fanny pack. SFJ fanny pack. That's right, folks. Available at sfj4x4.com.
Mine has not come in yet. But if you know,
you will know. There'll be pictures.
You will know.
Me and Greg will be laughing.
As soon as my fanny pack
all
comes
of us
in,
will be laughing.
As soon as it's in, I will be rocking that fanny pack.
He said those words. Some things should be left in the 90s.
No. No.
If you want to know more about that or the backstory, SFJ 4x4 TV, there is a recent released video from SEMA.
Yep.
Pretty much explains
You're
it
going to
all.
need to go check that out. But the reality of the situation is fanny packs never should have gone out of style.
They never should have became styled.
Thank you, Jeff. The other day, him and Davey were.
I'm sighing
were-
at you,
were-
Jeremy.
I honestly would support your man purse more than the fanny
Right?
pack.
I already wear the man purse.
I know you do.
That's a functional. That's functional. That's
No.
like having a station wagon. It's the whole point of why
A
four-door
station-
Jeeps
no,
exist
no, station
because they're
wagons
functional.
Are good. Fanny packs.
My man purse is the equivalent of any
Ah.
four-door Jeep on the market right now. That's just the nature of the
well.
beast.
With
Chuck saying, handy dandy gun toter indeed. Fanny packs forever.
Amen. You got a holster over here. You know what? We're gonna bring the cell phone holster back. It's gonna be tactical.
If you're gonna do that, you got to make like a flannel fanny pack.
I would love to make a flannel fanny pack. Our first line of
gotta
fanny
man
packs
it
is
up a
just a
little bit.
black with the SFJ 4x4 logo on it. You should definitely head over to sfj4x4.com, buy yourself one. It'll get drop shipped right to your house. Super cool stuff. In a side note, really wanted like a really crazy, eclectic 80s, 90s inspired fanny pack. Bright colors like we had 30
With
years
the
ago.
squiggles.
Only if you get the parachute pants to go with it.
Would love that. You wouldn't know if I was wearing parachute pants in the studio or not. I
No,
could
but
have
we
no
would know.
pants on under here.
We would.
I would totally.
We would
pick on
definitely
you
know.
about it.
If you put parachute pants on and showed up, I would make you stand back far enough the
No.
camera would see, and you're doing hammer time.
Oh, hammer time.
I'll even up it to just like the Adidas pants, that we all wore in high
the
school.
tearaways,
Tearaways, yeah.
or do you just mean the 3 lines? Because I literally was wearing those all weekend.
No, he's talking about the
okay.
tearaways.
Okay.
I don't know if he knows what the tearaways are.
I do.
I don't think he. I don't know. If he was cool enough to
know.
wear the tearaways.
I was.
He might have been terrified of the tearaways.
You probably know what I wore in high school. I'm wearing them right now.
Your jeans, regular
Carpenter jeans.
carpenter
Carpenter
jeans.
You didn't have the Jenko jeans?
No.
I started the carpenter jean movement, just so we all know.
No.
No.
I did.
No.
I did.
You don't.
I found a pair of my dad's pants.
You don't lose the carpenter jean movement
in
once
96.
you gain the carpenter jean movement, right, Jeff?
I started
That's
it.
right.
I started the carpenter jean movement, the entire one, a whole national trend, a
No.
true,
your
genuine
reference?
70s carpenter
Can you
pair of carpenter
can you
jeans.
Google that, Jeff, so we can prove him wrong?
How are you going to prove who started the carpenter jean reference?
Joe
Juggle
says
knows all.
pants are overrated, and Rob responds with work from home, Joe.
Joe, I'm okay. That's fine. Pants are overrated.
Yeah.
That's why I wore the tearaways.
Yeah, of course you did. Football player.
Well, if the pants fit, don't wear them.
That's
So-
not how the saying goes, but okay.
Loud and proud, show it off. I don't know. There's phrases that can be intermingled.
Let's
there.
get back to some products
Right.
here.
products
We have
besides
we have a
tearaway
couple.
pants.
Got a couple we need to go over.
All right,
Are
what
we
did you want
creating
to go
SFJ
over?
tearaway pants now?
We might
Savage,
be,
I need you to get on that.
right now. Savage is figuring out where can we create tearaway pants at right now
Oh,
to go with the fanny packs.
Totally. We might have to explain to them what they are first.
Okay, so let's circle back around to fanny packs. And that's only funny because we know Savage's age. People listening in don't know
Yeah.
that you're making an ageist joke. Ageist.
Yeah.
Joe's chiming in saying he doesn't work at all. Linda does. If she's got pants on by noon, she's doing well.
Oh boy.
Oh, a view into their homestead.
I guess.
So the fanny
bad for
pack
their
is
delivery
just
people.
we were flying, and it would have been wonderful to just have all of that stuff on the hip, ready to rock and
Is that
roll.
counted as a carry-on then?
You know,
I don't think so.
back to the no, it's a personal item. Back to the ageism jokes.
Back to the
So Davey's at the age right now that the fanny packs are kind of making a comeback, and he's in that age group. So for him, they
It's
never went out of
perfectly
style.
normal. They didn't go
Yeah.
out of style. They're coming in
No.
to a thing, and I'm here for it.
And I
100%.
think he really wanted one while he was at SEMA.
You know what? And interestingly enough, folks, if you're unaware, Davey bought a fanny pack at SEMA.
Yep, I was unaware.
That happened.
Oh God, yeah. So you're gonna have to watch episode 2 of the vlog because we start
Yeah, we
off.
need to know more now.
And I think maybe we'll reveal it a little bit next week. But no, he ends up buying a upchurched fanny pack.
Remember when
and-
they were like $5?
Oh yeah. No, as soon as you put this name Supreme on them,
Oh.
they're now worth a lot of money.
Oh boy.
The downside may or may not have been that Savage's fanny pack was not actually a legit Supreme.
Oh boy.
It may have been a knockoff sold in like a novelty shop in one of the hotel casinos.
Did
Kind
you
of
buy
like
it
the
outside?
photograph thing. You got scammed.
The Folkleys, the the Folexes,
As
that
you're
kind of
walking
stuff.
in the venue, there's a guy over the side. Hey, you want to buy a fanny pack?
I want a fanny pack. I got the goods on the fanny pack.
It's right here under my jacket.
Scott, we've entered a world where that's so much in style now that they are making faux ones.
Savage,
Right? What
So
happened?
Savage may or may not have bought a faux fanny pack. And the crux of this, so he was trying to rock it like his Merce, like my man bag. And it's fine if he rocks it like a shoulder strap man bag. But if he actually wears it in fanny pack orientation, the Supreme is upside down.
Oh.
He's over there shaking his head right now.
Oh.
It's okay, Davey.
Yeah, he did. He bought it. Didn't want to carry the book bag around, so he carried the fanny pack. It's like an oversized fanny pack, and it's pretty cool. Not as cool as the SFJ one, obviously.
Obviously, ours isn't upside down.
Right, ours isn't going to be upside down. If it is, there's problems.
Yes.
Or we should get a discount,
Yeah,
and you
right?
should get a discount too on that one.
Yeah.
I think we should sell one upside down on purpose now.
One of you lucky listeners will get an upside down fanny pack. That's a real sell point, isn't it?
I'm sorry.
Have a
That
pineapple
is
on
not a prize.
All
That is
right.
a punishment.
So, good products, bad products of the hashtag not sponsored. I love the sticker. It came out wonderful. People have been buying them, rocking them. $4.19 directly benefits the podcast.
I have a product that's never let us down, and as I can think of, it's always been good product. Fits right the first time.
Fluid film.
Well, that is
That's
on the
it
list.
fits right the first time you just blow it on.
Artec.
Oh,
I mean, just trusses and gussets and all that stuff. They just click together.
yeah, laser
Also
cut
nice.
trussing. We've done a lot of trussing for customers.
Yep.
The axle work, their skids, their belly
so
pans.
consistent. You know what you're getting when
Yes.
you get an Artec.
Other
product.
than hardware, we've ran into some problems with hardware and
it's
receiving that on
2022, people.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of 2022, Joe's looking for a new style to return. I still have a powder blue leisure suit waiting patiently for the inevitable return to style. Joe, I think it's coming.
God help us.
I think you just start wearing it out.
I think maybe
it's just because it's blue.
I think we'll need
That's
to
why
invite
Jeff's on board.
Joe
Yes.
can be one of our guests, and he can wear the leisure suit on
that'd
the
be
podcast.
great. That'd be great.
Or you know what? You should just wear it wheeling. Like just take it to a Jeep Jamboree USA and wear it.
And just freak everybody out on the trails. Of like, what is this guy doing?
That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Wheeling in a leisure suit or like a tux.
That'd be funny.
I think we could do that.
I think we need to have a black tie wheeling event.
Oh my goodness. A black tie wheeling event.
That is our plan for 23. We are going to plan this out. It's going to happen.
Black tie wheeling event.
Neil's not getting in his Jeep.
Men, women in formals, and men in three-piece with tails.
Oh, this has to
Why
happen
write
now.
the tails?
Coat tails,
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Bow ties too.
bow ties.
Oh, you would be a bow tie person, Jeff.
Oh my gosh.
I'm actually not, but for this event, it has to be.
Wow.
Rob, Rob's in.
Rob is in. Daddy Jeep, we're doing it. Oh my God.
We're entering Gambler 500 territory, gentlemen. That's from Chuck. And Joe chimed in. We kind of bypassed that for a minute. Says, or my Zardoz thong with the boots. I'm going to pass on that one.
All right.
I really feel bad for the delivery people now.
Wow. You know what? As far as product reviews, one that obviously we've pushed a lot in 2022, and I can tell you we pushed it because, again, you made the joke about, hey, 2022 and hardware and all that kind of stuff. Iron Rock Off-Road, right? And kudos to them for having quality supply chain logistics
When
in
no one else
2022. They were able to produce parts and had reasonable lead times.
And when nothing existed.
When nothing existed. Now,
Yeah.
they screwed up orders.
Yeah.
But they made it right.
Yep.
And they made it right fast. And that in 2022 we have to celebrate because there's a lot of people making excuses
Yeah.
And from an ownership level, as a person, I don't deal well with excuses and what was it, Alpine, and they're concerned with my my approach. I'm not easy to work with when it comes to our customers' needs. So it just follow through, and make it right. And IRO did that consistently, even with some of the shortcomings of 2022. Now, a testament, which we sort of did or didn't do with Fox and JKS. They're another one who has attempted to make it right in the Q3, Q4 of 2022. So big products that we like there.
I got to take a moment to read Joe's comment here. Back in the pre-SOR days of Jeep School, they once had a prom. My ruffled shirt and upholstery pattern tux was awesome.
Picture, it's not true.
I agree. I need a picture.
Pictures or it's not true, Joe. That's just the reality situation. Send those pictures across. We'll do our best to describe it to our listeners. And then, obviously, it'll go post-production into our YouTube video, which you'll need, obviously, to go find so you can see these pictures of Joe. Because I don't believe it until I see the picture. I think it's going to be epic.
I believe it.
Epic. So as far as our suspension manufacturers, 2022, those product spotlights, Fox, JKS, Iron Rock, brought good.
He's saying as you wish. I just want to clarify. We want the Jeep prom picture, not the thong picture.
Yikes. Yikes.
I'm not looking at any pictures until
We'll definitely put the Zardoza thong up as well, Joe. I mean, if you send it, whatever. So it's a fair game.
It will live on the internet.
It will. You will be internet famous. Gracious. What other good products did we push?
You already talked about it, but you can't not talk about fluid film.
I think we should just kind of finalize on fluid film and then say our goodbyes. But
well, let's two other things real quick. Falcon tires that came in rather recently. We've done a great thing on them, and they're selling like crazy.
They are, and obviously, if you're unfamiliar with Falcon, and one of the things that I learned in 2022, which I did not know, right, because I go back just under a decade, and the best marketing, I say this tongue in cheek, that they could produce for the off-road industry was a six-wheeled, kind of a military-inspired tank vehicle that was destroying the forest, which was really crappy marketing. If we just look at what we should present in the Leave No Trace world.
That? When they had the Jeep commercial with the guy going up the stream and like the world blew up.
Correct. This actually predates all of that. This was somewhere in like the 14-15 range.
Oh.
And Falcon ends up with this six-wheel utility tank-esque vehicle that is like, I just remember it like mowing down trees and like leaping off of like embankments and then, kind of landing and just ripping through the forest.
I think that's one of those commercials that you saw and you didn't really know the brand name after they watched the commercial.
I'm with Jeff.
I see, and so you're right. And then they brought it to market publication. They brought it to print publication.
We didn't know who to be angry at.
Yeah, And they had this like tank thing in like these Jeep magazines, and we're like, I get it's off road, it's six wheels, like you've hit some market indicators, but it still wasn't like it wasn't cool to us,
Rob said he remembers it.
Yep, and there was a lot of people kind of outraged by it and like odd marketing. It was like, who is this brand Falcon? You know what I mean? Like tires, right? And understand not the shock manufacturer, which is kind of come and gone ish, but the actual tire manufacturer, Falken, really cool. Now, at their core, Japanese manufacturer, and I got to tell you, I'm here for Japanese manufacturers.
Yeah.
As much as
they make good tires.
As much as a U.S. Proud brand that SFJ 4x4 is, there are appropriate international markets that we can partner with.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, Falcon themselves actually purchased the old Dunlop brands. So, again, one of the things that has come to light for me in just this past year was that basically Dunlop is Falcon and Falcon is Dunlop at this point. And many of their product lines are actually produced right in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
So you could be buying a Falcon tire and it could have come out of Buffalo, New York. Despite the fact that the corporate family is from Japan, you know, if you're buying a Dunlop for your tractor or heavy equipment or over-the-road truck or whatever it might be, it's really just a Falcon, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff we learned in
And
2022.
if you're a lucky person that got a new Jeep and it rides really nice, it has Falcons on it, and if it was the unlucky one that didn't, you probably are replacing your tires.
Yeah, because that's one of the big things that they actually partnered with a number of OE manufacturers in the last year or two and produced, you know, some of these production model vehicles. So I think the Willys package can come with
Yes.
can
Doesn't
come
always.
with Falcon AT3s. No, otherwise it comes with horrible, terrible Firestone Destination tires.
Talk about brands that have
MTs
let us down.
that have let us down and made our customers' vehicles worse.
And what's really bad is they picked the destination name. I still remember 95 and 96 people.
I was actually, you know,
Why didn't that name just go, put it in the safe, lock the door, forget it ever existed?
Well, that's the problem. They forgot it existed, and they tried to bring it back.
big Mama Firestone. What are you doing?
Right?
What are you
Bad
doing?
marketing.
Bad marketing, bad leadership. I don't
if
know.
If you're going to make a tire with
Firestone.
destination on it, you got to make it good. Like, you got to fix the problems of the past.
Does anybody know anybody at Firestone? I mean, I'm calling you out. I want you on the show, and let's talk about what you're doing.
Yes.
Because I would correct me, but I have yet to feel warm and fuzzy about destinations. Certainly the MT lines.
God, no.
Now there's one other product that has let us down that we focused highly on and we liked when we did the product spotlight, and that was the DS18.
Oh, ow! Shots fired.
Touched me.
All right. Well, you know what? Own it where we're at, right?
Yep.
So I still like DS18. We
Their speakers are good.
speakers are good. We use a lot of DS18. We've installed a lot of DS18. But we did do a product spotlight on their 6.9 double DIN head unit.
And the early ones were good.
And
so
I
don't
actually,
panic.
Yeah.
If you
I
have
actually,
one and it's working great, you're the lucky ones.
that's me. My hands
Yes.
in the air because both myself and Greg in our toys, so in Chuck Norris and in his LSXJ, we have double DIN DS18 head units.
And it's hard to make Greg happy with electronics.
Oh my God,
Right.
impossible.
So
It's pretty much hard to make Greg happy with anything except for like his family and his alone
And
time.
sunsets.
So as far as the DS18, we actually had a bad batch that we received. I want to say the very earliest of 2022.
Yeah, 2022 people.
Very
Touched us.
early. So it was either late 21. We bought a bunch of them, and you know what? They all failed. We have warrantied all of them out. So we installed them in customer vehicles, and the customer would be driving for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and all of a sudden the whole unit would shut off, go
Bang.
blank.
reboot itself.
It reboots completely, memories completely wiped. All your Bluetooth, your phone contacts, your everything.
And it
Not
just
good.
came down to bad pins in the plugs.
Construction.
The
It came down to a
Actually,
physical.
not the radio's fault.
Yep.
It's the harness.
Yep, it's actually the wire harness construction, not the radio per se. But we have sought to remediate all of those and get rid of that bad batch. But you're not wrong, Jeffrey. That was one that we did a review on, and we're here to correct and stand by things in the good and the bad. I would still sell DS18. We do sell DS18 products. Again, I have it personally in my vehicle. Could probably put the speakers in my dad's when we do some audio upfit and his in the spring. But those head units in 2022 really, really touched us in some awkward positions. Oh, gracious. Well, now can we talk about fluid film?
Yeah, we can talk about fluid film now.
Can with the cape.
The can with a cape.
Yes.
On sale at our front counter.
It is special running through winter because obviously you should douse everything you own in fluid film.
Everything.
It felt like it was a long, hard day at work? Take a bath in fluid film.
Yes.
You got a squeaky door on the house? Fluid film.
Fluid film. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Dog tore at your leather couch.
Fluid film.
Fluid film.
Yep. Just that important.
Battery low corrody.
Fluid film it.
Joe's
Absolutely.
saying no capes.
No capes. No capes for the can? I don't know, Joe. What does that mean?
I've had people come in and be concerned. My battery looks wet. It's fluid film. You're welcome.
Totally. All of our assembly we do with an appropriate product, and so sometimes that is a Never Sees product, only in very, very specific
Yes.
situations. We are actually the anti-Never Sees business, in the sense that I say that kind of just to be extreme, because people put it on just
Too much.
too much stuff, inappropriate stuff.
I understand. My dad did it too. Grandpa put it on everything. We know better now.
Yes, Tin Man Blood does not have the appropriate kind of
You have to stop
bonding
yourself
properties.
and go, if this part falls off, will I get hurt or not?
That's
And
one.
if that's the case, don't put Never Sees on it.
Yes, because obviously it's never seizing, it's never torquing appropriately.
And I'm okay with like in a bushing or something, but the nut that holds your control arm on, it should not be fluid. It should
Never
be fluid
seized.
film.
It should be fluid film.
It should not be Never Seized.
Your lug nuts should not be never seized.
Yes, especially your spacers.
Ugh, oh, gracious.
Goodness.
But you should never seize the flat mounting surface of a dissimilar metal,
And
so that you create a
I'm not-
protective or a lasting barrier.
I'm gonna blow your minds. You know
Oh,
what's miracle? You mix fluid film and Never Sees, or if you want better, brake grease. Make a little slurry. That stuff. man.
Slippery.
Oh my goodness.
You can do some things with it, folks.
You can have a bolt and be like, this won't turn. Put that on there. It's
You
magic.
can thank us later.
Yeah.
So right now I've seen a lot of people, you're getting a little late in the game, depending on where you live in the country,
Yeah.
of undercoating vehicles. Basically, here's the thing. We use a lot of fluid film, the actual name brand product, but at its core, it is simply a lanolin-based product. That means it's not petroleum-based. It's not being mined out of dinosaur blood,
Yes.
okay? We're actually compressing lamb's wool
Yep.
to the point where it gives off natural oils.
Yep.
This is
Which means your pets and the squirrels and all that will thank you.
correct. This is now. Should you drink it?
No.
I don't think that's a good choice.
I wouldn't chew on a sheep, so just don't do it.
You wouldn't chew on a sheep.
On the wool.
I'm so glad that you made that reference. I was concerned. I thought you might chew on a sheep. But now you've proclaimed it out into the universe as the savage
what I
wants
do.
us to be doing.
It's what I do.
Now I feel
See,
like
you
I
need
know
something-
you
it's
better.
It's been a long time for the blooper reel. So
I feel
need to
like I
give
know you
something.
better. Oh, thank God. Scott won't chew on a sheep.
Davey, there's your next soundbite right there. That's going on TikTok.
Yeah, it's totally
Oh.
going TikTok. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
The point we were trying to make.
Chuck is doing a facepalm and Joe is going, it just annoys the sheep.
Right? It's
The
going to
point
attack you then.
I wanted to make was that fluid film is non-toxic. But here we are with bestiality.
What I don't understand, though, me and Jeff will know what I'm talking about.
What?
While Neil has a
I know.
moment.
I've never chewed on a sheep. Why
No,
would
no.
I know what you're talking about?
Why do we put black fluid film on our stuff? I don't understand.
Because it looks nice.
But it's not.
It looks nice. Listen. Fluid
It
film when
does
you spray
look
it
nice.
on.
I'm going to side with him on that.
looks
but
Fluid
nice.
film when you spray
But the rust
it
is
on.
still there.
Yes, but fluid film
I
when
wanna
you
know where the
spray
rest
it
is.
on just looks frothy. It looks like the soap scum that ends up on a lake or a pond just after it thaws.
You're not
And
wrong.
people don't like that. And people don't like that. They want to see it kind of this nice black glazy coat.
Imagine if they put blue dye in it, Jeff. You'd pay
I
more
would
for
totally do that.
Listen, I'm going to go back to lanolin because I desperately want to keep this train on the tracks.
Well, Chuck's saying wide-ranging conversations today.
that.
There are products, New
Okay,
Hampshire
a
NH oil,
disclaimer.
New Hampshire oil. There's fluid film black. There is wool wax, which is ultimately wool wax, right? This is all these non-toxic, non-petroleum based, right? So the issue is when you spray petroleum, the old Cooter's Garage where they're brushing on used motor oil. First of all, bad for the environment. Second of all, bad for your wires. Third of all, really bad for bushing and rubber
Yeah,
materials.
It makes them swell. Bad.
Okay? So that's
Joe
what we
said
don't
that
do
train
that.
derailed a long time ago.
Don't let your friends do that. It did. The train was trying to put it back on the tracks. Don't let your friends. I literally was privy to a community group, and they were desperately looking for somebody who did old school patrol used motor.
You know what's
motor oil.
worse than that, in my opinion?
Huh?
Rubberized undercoating.
The worst. We'll review it in 2023 and tell you why this is the worst product ever brought to the automotive industry.
It's so bad.
All right, folks. The train has left the station.
Yep.
It has jumped some tracks. It has been a wild ride of the last full year, 50-plus episodes of the SFJ 4x4 I Speak Jeep podcast.
So on that, the last comment before we go, Cooters, lamb chewing. I feel like I'm finally home. Thank you, Chuck.
Amen to that, Chuck. Come into our family. Welcome to SFJ 4x4 if you have just joined us for the first time.
Pretty close to going to Thanksgiving.
Amen to that. And now let's cut the turkey. Until next time, Jeep family, Jeep on.
Jeep on.